Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris here, and welcome to a 2025 year in retrospect. I haven't migrated those other videos to this channel yet. I'm going to. Actually, I probably should, or at least I'll make a playlist with those on it, still linked to my old channel. But basically, if you don't know what this is, it's where I kind of stop, pause before the year comes to an end, and take a look back over whatever I can remember happened this year. Just kind of go over some like the key big events that I can think of, and this isn't going to be everything. I tried to make a list as I went throughout the year, but there were times where it's like, I'll remember to mention that, of course, and then I don't mention it and stuff like that. So, but this is just a short list of some things that happened, things that I did, and we're just going to kind of go through them. So, this year, 2025, was a big year for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. But for me, it was definitely the year of pushing myself to leave my comfort zone a bit and try new things, and also the year of rediscovering things I love. For example, things that I did this year that were challenging, that I really pushed myself to do with the help of some people, was go to like events and stuff. So I went to my first ever stand-up poetry event where I actually read a poem of mine in front of a small audience of like 20 or something people, something like that. I don't know. And that was terrifying because I was choking on nothing. I was hardly able to speak loud enough. I didn't have like a microphone or thing, so I was just kind of speaking and reading from it. I was shaking, and I can do YouTube and stuff like this all day long. I can sit here and be in front of a camera. And yeah, I'm not like perfect while I'm in front of the camera, definitely not. But I'm way more comfortable being in front of a camera, and I prefer to be on camera for a lot of things instead of in person. But man, it does not translate well to an audience, I'll tell you what. Especially when I am the sole focus. I could like be on stage or something like that, and maybe like if I did like say a live podcast or something like that, or like something, I don't know, where it's like other people and not just me, I would do a lot better at that because all the attention is not just on me. Just like the spotlight shifts and it shifts away. But so that was terrifying, but it was really fun. It was really cool. I felt just, as always, I felt so terribly, terribly out of place. I felt like, oh, I don't belong here. There's people with their guitars, there's people doing all this cool stuff, and everybody's so confident and so welcomed by the community. They all look the same. They're just a bunch of like older people, and I'm there just like looking like me. So I go up there and I immediately feel judged. I'm waiting for the first tomato to be thrown. But the other things I did craft fairs for the first time. I've never really done that, and I was able to get myself into a couple different like church craft fairs to try to sell my books, and they went well. Like all things considered, for my standards, they went really well. I sold a bunch of books. I sold more books at the craft fairs than I have online for like the past like 5 or 6 years combined, which is great. And I definitely want to be setting up to do more. Yeah, I did I think like three craft fairs maybe. The first one I did was outside in the freaking rain. So I had my little tarp, my like little canopy over my head, and I'm selling books. So I had to like pull everything as close to the middle as I could so the drainage, like the drip off of the side of the canopy, wouldn't hit it with the wind blowing, wouldn't get all my stuff wet. It sucked. And there were mosquitoes everywhere. But it was still good. I think that was in May, I want to say. That was still a lot of fun though. I wish we had done it inside. And the other craft fairs just went well. The second one I went to they were both at a church. The second one I went to was inside the church, and I had horrible, horrible stomach pains. I spent half that time going back and forth to the bathroom. I probably went to the bathroom during that fair like 15 times, and I had to set up a sign saying "I'll be right back" in the bathroom or something like that. Even still, I sold some books and whatever have you. But that's not the only thing I was selling, because the other thing I got back into this year is photography. I grew up always loving, just as soon as I could get anything to take a photo with, any kind of camera or anything like that, I was all about it. I used to, on field trips, take those little wind up Kodak cameras, all those kind of cameras. I'd bring those on field trips and stuff for school. And as soon as I got my first little blue point and shoot camera that I used for YouTube, I would go around and take pictures with that. As soon as I got a camera on my phone, I was a fiend at taking photos. And then I got myself like a DSLR that I used for YouTube for a long time, and I used for just going out and taking random photos and stuff, and I loved it. And I had that. Then I got another camera along like the timeline. Then I sold this one. It was like the Nikon Coolpix P610, and then I used that camera for years. I sold it to get a new camera. I was trying to upgrade, and I got a Nikon. I think it was a Nikon D5200, and that it was a good camera. It was crisp. It was sharp. It was clean. But it was horrible for taking videos because the autofocus was super loud in the way that the lens just it was horrible. It was so loud. So I eventually got rid of that camera and got the P610 again because I'm like, at least I know how this one works. I know what to expect from it, and it's not going to be loud and obnoxious. So I got that camera again, and I used that for like 10 years straight, and finally sold it again and got myself a new camera this year. I wanted to actually get one with interchangeable lenses because the P610 was just one lens with like zoom features and stuff, and autofocus, nothing manual about it. So I got myself a EOS R50, a Canon EOS R50 with a basic lens, and then over the next like 6 or whatever months, I started picking up more lenses. Well, I should say before that, I was still using the P610 taking photos. I was like, I want to get back into taking photography. So I just started bringing it with me, bringing it on like hikes and stuff like that and taking some pictures. And I was looking at the photos like, I know these could be better. This camera's old. There are some photos I took that I know would have come out better if my camera was better or if I had better options. I saved up money and I sold the camera and I put aside a bunch of money for a little bit and then bought myself the camera. And now I have like the camera, like 6 different lenses, and I'm going around still taking. I've taken like hundreds of final render photos. I've taken like 7,000 photos since then over the past few months. I've slowed down with a bit recently, just because I can't. There's no places that I want to try and go to take new photos. But either way, that's beside the point. Not to get caught up on that. Getting back into photography, the other thing I'm getting back into was skateboarding. If you've been watching on this channel, I've been posting the skateboarding videos up until just recently because it's winter now. It's December. I'm recording this on December 26th. But I've been getting back into skateboarding because I grew up skateboarding a lot, and it was like one of my favorite hobbies as a kid. It was my favorite sport as a kid, and I was like a teenager or whatever. I'm just getting back into it. So yeah, a couple things. Really enjoying that. And so some other stuff that happened this year, really, really big one was I paid off my debts. For a brief history on that, when COVID happened, I was living with my brother. We still live together, but it was just him and I in a place, splitting rent and stuff like that. I got him a job at the restaurant that I worked at, and he got most of his hours laid off. And now, thankfully, at the time, I was working at a different place where they didn't lay people off because it's a care facility. It's an elderly care facility, and so they didn't like lay people off. You might have had your hours switched around a bit, but I still maintained my hours, whereas he lost most of his hours. All of a sudden, I was paying a large sum of the bills for a little bit of time, and not that he contributed nothing, but a lot of the bills were being covered by me, and tertiary stuff around the house was being covered by me on my credit card. My credit card, which was a Capital One card, at a 29.6 or 26.9, whatever, percent APR. So my interest rate was through the roof. So then I actually had to use that card, and then I had to start using PayPal credit, which also had a 26.9% APR. So I had 2 credit cards, 2 credit lines running at a huge interest rate, just trying to stay alive, because I had to cover all those bills and stuff, and personal expenses and house expenses and whatever. I'm not blaming Dylan or anything like that. That was just the situation we were in. But that did financially fuck me for about 6 years. Almost 6 years it screwed me. Got to the point where I was trying to pay off all my debts by just like I didn't have to use my credit card anymore, so I was just trying to pay it down. I would still have to use it sometimes, but like I would pay $140 to $240 a month between the two, and they both would have like a $90 interest rate. So immediately I was only paying like 40 or 50 bucks a month on each credit line. So I was like, I literally can't catch up. This is impossible. And the longer I went without doing that, without paying it down more, the more it just kept accumulating, because the more times I would have to end up using it for emergencies and life stuff. So I got to the point where I was just like, I have no other choice. I'm gonna drown. This is terrible. Hey, best friend of mine for 30 years. I know you're set with money because of circumstances. Can I borrow this sum of money so I can pay these down, get rid of the interest, or pay them down to zero, get rid of the interest, and just pay you back over the course of a year. And he said yes. So he did that. I got rid of those debts. I'm very fortunate that I had him to turn to. I didn't want to. I do not like borrowing money. And he's always been the person where it's like he had people always borrow money from him and never got to pay back. I'm the only person that ever paid him back, and I only ever borrowed money from him once for an airsoft gun. It's like $150, and but I paid him back like within a week or two. So I just wanted to get a jump on it because it was a sale or something like that. So yeah, I borrowed the money from him, and over I think it was 13 months, something like that. It was like just within a month of a year over or under, or something like that. I paid him off because all of my extra money that would, I also picked up hours at my other job where I was getting good pay there. I had two jobs. I still have two jobs. I just focused all of that. I was like, this is a chunk every single week, and every single paycheck, this money gets set aside for him no matter what. Unless it was like, I think last year around Christmas, I'm like, can I skip December for holiday reasons, obviously for being able to do holiday stuff. Just I'll skip December and I'll pick up back then. I think that's why it took like 13 months, because I skipped 1 month. And he said that's no problem because I had never missed a payment till then. He was being very strict with me, and I appreciated that because, don't let me get off easy. I'm borrowing a large sum of money from you. But yeah, so I borrowed that and I got that paid off, and I feel really good about that. And now it's basically just like keeping my debt down, keeping my debt sane. So I closed the PayPal account. I closed that credit card account because what I first tried doing was doing a credit transfer. So I transferred from the previous credit card to a new credit card line to close the previous account at a 0% APR for like a year. And I was still trying to keep caught up with that, and it was working a little bit better, but it was still like still getting screwed, man. I can't catch up just because of bills and everything like that. So then I borrowed the money from him, paid it off, and then was paying him. So I'm at a new credit card, and PayPal credit's been closed. The previous credit card account has been closed, and I'm all set. So now it's just so stressed with money, especially in the winter. But this is the first year in the past like 3 where we haven't had to go like weeks without heat in the house because we couldn't afford the oil, because we have oil heat for the house. So because that gets expensive. So this is like the first year where we've been able to actually not worry so hard about it. We're still worried about it. We still have to make sure we're being smart, and I manage those bills. So I still have to make sure I'm being smart about it. But we're good. So yeah, that's a big win. I could not have done it without his help, without my therapist's help, with just being able to manage my brain and give me suggestions of just like, bounce ideas off of stuff I could do, and my case manager at the therapy place. All 3 of those people, just wonderful. I just got like almost a little bit emotional. I didn't realize how long this year's been, man. I don't know why I'm getting I just got really emotional. I'm just thankful that I think that was just like residual anxiety and trauma coming out, and realizing it just like extra hit me now that I'm past that. Because that was fucking me for years, on top of the the depression and the anxiety from when my relationship ended in 2019. So it was like going from that to COVID to insurmountable debt to everything, and I'm just like, I'm over that. I'm not over it, but I'm past that. I've crossed those bridges, and I'm like in a new place, and I can maybe get started with something. I don't know, man. Health stuff. That's more fun. Still was dealing with cardiology stuff, but that has been less this year, and instead it transitioned to stomach stuff, colon stuff, and I ended up having a colonoscopy, doing all that stuff. Let's kind of skip over. I was basically having like horrible stomach, like like diarrhea, stuff like that. Like, didn't seem to matter what I ate, what I didn't eat. I was always having some form of stomach issues. Got to the point where I'm like, I'm getting a colonoscopy with my insurance. Thankfully, I still have state-provided insurance, so I can do a lot of this stuff, and I'm using it while I have it. Because who knows what's going to happen this year? Might not have it anymore. I don't know. But so, got myself a colonoscopy. They found nothing crazy. They had polyps that they removed that were non-cancerous, so we're good there. As far as I can figure, this isn't diagnosed because they didn't give me a diagnosis. Besides, sounds like IBS. But I feel like it's some form of diverticulosis or diverticulitis, whichever one. which essentially is just for me being caused by certain like grains and seeds and just a few food products that like get stuck in my colon and then cause me to have like your body's just like, oh, ow, diarrhea, whatever have you. So I'm always kind of going back and forth. Either it's runny or I'm constipated. I'm currently constipated because then I take a medication that helps with the cramps of the diarrhea and stuff like that, and then those make me constipated. So now I'm constipated and I'm dealing with the different fibers, and it's just like, ugh. Another thing that I did was a treat for myself. At the end of the summer, to do something nice for myself, because the only nice things I ever really do for myself are like buying myself stuff like we all do, like from Amazon. Like, I'm gonna get myself this thing, but it's nothing crazy. It's just something I just kind of wanted, and it's just kind of like whatever. Or I don't ever like take myself out to eat, like we'll get a pizza or something like that for a game night or whatever, but I don't do things for myself. So I decided to plan a trip off of my therapist's suggestion. We were like bouncing ideas and stuff off of each other. And I planned myself a trip where I wanted to go to a different state and do something. Just go somewhere I hadn't fully been. But I got a little too anxious about going somewhere really that I was thinking about going to like Vermont or something. And I've been to Vermont like once, and I've passed through Vermont, but as an adult, I've never just kind of gone to a state I don't ever go to, found a hotel, and just like, what do I do now? So I planned a trip to Portland, Maine. And in Maine, I just went to like the mall, and I walked around Portland and with my new camera, and I was taking pictures, and I was having just fun by myself doing something. Stayed at a hotel, and that was a good time. I had Indian food for the first time, which was a lot better than I thought. He's like, how spicy? I'm like, 0 spice, please, because I will die. And I went to the main mall, and it was really cool. And actually, we went back to the main mall for Nin's birthday in October. So yeah, I treated myself with that, and I want to do that again. I'm not gonna like make that a super big habit, but I do wanna at least once or twice a year take a small trip, because it wasn't overall that expensive. I mean, at the end of the day, it cost me a couple $100s. The hotel stay was like a little over $100 for one night, I think, something like that, and the actual like just paying for everything, and then like gas on top of it because I drove. It only cost me a couple $100s in the end, and that obviously would go down the less I spent like at the mall or whatever have you. I think I only spent like $80 at the mall. It wasn't that much. I mean, $80 is a lot of money, but like not as much as like you could definitely spend at the mall. I'm very stingent on how I spend my money in places like that. So something not so fun is the bunnies recently got fleas for the first time. Moreover, Domino got it, and BB I think had one or two that got on him. He wasn't really infested like Domino. She got a lot going on. And Domino has a lot going on right now. She has like a little papilloma in her ear, where next Monday I'm taking her to the vet to get it biopsied. So that's going to be expensive. I'm not trying to think about that. But they're okay. The bunnies are good. It's just I've never had to deal with fleas in the house. I had bed bugs once. Thank you, Facebook Marketplace couch. But I've never had to deal with fleas before, so I'm like in a full panic trying to figure that out. And we got it situated. I got it situated. And then another thing was I got a new PC. I've had my PC since like 2019 or something like that, 2020 maybe. I don't remember. I think it was 2019. No, was it 2020? I think it was the start of 2020. I got myself no, I don't know. I got my PC like almost 6 years ago. So I finally decided to get a new one, just upgrade my PC, because that one was obviously a little bit old, and it was starting to slow down, starting to chunk around and stuff, and it was still running Windows 10, which I prefer to be on Windows 10, but I don't want to be on 11, but I had no choice. So got a new PC, and I'm paying that off right now, but I should have that paid off like as summer starts, because I'm making big monthly payments. I'm like making 6 monthly payments of a good chunk, and I'm paying that with a specific specific source of income set aside. My gaping asshole OnlyFans, just so you're aware. OnlyFans.com/Chris's gaping asshole. Another thing, actually, real quick, Rooster Teeth technically came back at February of this year. Bernie posted a video for Rooster Teeth coming back, so hasn't posted anything about it this time, anything about it yet, but technically Rooster Teeth is back, just kind of waiting for something to happen with that. Crazy, just because he owns the IP and everything like that. I made this channel this year, the Linkin Lifestyle channel. I made that this year, just trying something different, and it's not going as I expected. Because on the gaming channel, people would, and ever, like pretty much always on my channels, people always watch the vlog videos more than the gameplay most of the time. And now it's on the, all right, I'll make a vlog channel, and just not many people migrated over. I think the channel has still, we're at like 71 subscribers. And so it's just, which isn't bad, obviously. I'm happy for every subscriber, but it's like I thought people wanted to watch the vlogs and nobody moved over to the vlog channel. It's just like, okay. Oh, yeah, I also went to Cape Elizabeth in Maine. I forgot about that. Forgot to mention that. I went through a few different jumping spiders this year. I got one at the beginning, somewhere around the beginning of the year, and he didn't make it too long. And then I got another one that I rescued. Then I released him because he was not happy. Then I actually rescued another one, Matilda, and she just passed away recently. So, unfortunate there. I'm going through the vlog channel and kind of looking at stuff. I found my first geocache this year. I forgot about that. That was the first video I uploaded on this channel. Never been geocaching, and I just stumbled across one. We got mice this year. We got 3 mice. One of them already passed away because I think Chimichanga had like a weird little brain thing going on. But yeah, we have two mice still. I went on a bunch of different hikes and places I've never been to before. Just some different locations that have been local to me that I've just never been to because of whatever have you. And I just went out there with my camera equipment to go take photos. So like that got me out and exploring a bunch more. We played a lot more board games and stuff this year, a lot more card games. I guess more card games than board games. I went to the beach, not to swim, but for photos for the first time in a while. And I guess the last thing I will say is a tragic thing. I've talked about it before, but the Monster of the Week podcast with Jeremy and Chris. Jeremy passed away from cancer in July. I think, I'm pretty sure. And so that was tough because that was like a really parasocial, not parasocial in the way that like neckbeards love their fucking VTuber streamers on Twitch, but just like I feel like I'm in the room with them kind of thing when they're doing podcasts about Supernatural and Merlin and X-Files and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and all these things they did podcasts on. You feel like you know them, you feel like you're friends with them, but not in the way where it's like, yeah, me and Jeremy, we're close, we're buds, but just to the point where like it hits you. It hit me when he passed away. It was like, fuck, I'm crying over this dude. Never met him. I've talked to him. I've sent messages back and forth a little bit, and I've been in their Discord community and stuff and kind of like lurked and have been engaged in their content for years, like 5 years at that point. Maybe 4. Actually, yeah, about 5. And to have him pass away is just like, fuck, dude. Still gets me a little bit. Still, because it feels like a friend passed away. Even though he doesn't know my name, he doesn't know anything about me. Yeah, it still sucks, but last thing before we go, I don't know how I didn't mention this at the top, but I published 3 books this year. I believe it was 4 books, I guess, technically. Yeah, so I published 4 books this year, okay? So the first book I published this year was a book called Incarnation, which was a challenge to myself to write a short story in 1 month and get it out there, and I did, and I love it. I think it's great. It's a book about the world from the perspective of a tree who can't see, who can't hear, who can't do anything besides feel the nature around him. I'm just generally, it's a tree. The tree is not gendered, but you know what I mean. Around the tree, just like as it like absorbs information from all the other sources of nature and the environment, and as they're observing this forgotten trail that they are existing on. I like that book a lot. It's 60 pages. Check it out. And then we also have The Unexplainable, a paranormal anthology inspired by real-life events, which is just exactly what that is. It's just me kind of like retelling in a like tiny bit more dramatized way for storytelling purposes, but nothing there is like embellished or a lie or anything like that. It's just like, whatever have you, trying to describe the scene in a way that's digestible. And it's just a series of paranormal and odd experiences I've had in my life, just compiled into like a little 70-some-odd page little book. So that's cool. Then I published the 10th anniversary for my first book in the series, Vengeance, Children of Faust, 10th anniversary edition, and it's basically the first official recent hardcover release of book 1 formatted a little bit different with a cover that took me about 10 hours to draw, and a like 50 or so pages of, I think it's about 50 or so pages of bonus content in the back, like including like a Q&A, the very first Never Lie short story that I wrote that led to all of this, a bunch of like character biographies and stuff like that, fun facts and information. So that's really cool. I'm very proud of that. That took me like a full like month to do or something. Just like, ugh. Yeah, alternate scenes and endings it has and stuff like that. So very, very cool. And then lastly, I posted the most recent book in the Vengeance series. It's the title is a mouthful. It is Omnibus Vengeance Bane of Apotheosis Prologue, and it's basically the book leading into the final book in the main timeline of the series. So it's a like 120 or something page prologue to lead into the next book. So yeah, I published all those books this year. So if you want to check those out, please. I'm basically just struggling through life just so I can write my books. It's like the only thing I fucking care about in this world, to that degree. Like my books are like everything to me. So, vengeancebooks.com, please. Even if not for you, get a book for a friend. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the other years in retrospect, there'll be a playlist linked at the end or down below or both. Make sure you subscribe. I would appreciate it. Leave a like on the video if you made it to the end. And I will see you guys in the next one.